So this week I've been pretty busy preparing a live set with my band Naive Atom. So I thought I'd show you how I prepare a live set, also how I use the Chroma Console to affect the vocals live. Right, so this is the project here in Bitwig with everything. So when I put it onto the Octatrack, I want the stems, I want 4 tracks. It's like, there you go, you've got melodics, got just bass, got just drums, and then just vocals on this one.
Give us the noise, we don't want pills, yeah, we just want the voice.
So then when you're preparing it for the live set, obviously you don't want the main vocal in there. What you want is just the harmonies. So you mute this. Yeah, I solo it and then I bounce out the master. So then that means that it's got the drums and all of the bus effects on it. So you go through each one, you do your drums, you do your bass, you do your melodics, and you do the vocal, and you make sure that you take off the main vocal from that. For it to work on Octatrack, you want 24-bit, and you want 44.1 for the sample rate, and this will mean that it can play, because if you play 32-bit, it won't work, or the 48 hertz, it will kind of play it with weird speed. So those are the settings that you want. I would also, in the naming of the files, I put the BPM. I'll show you why later. Right, so then when you're setting up the Octatrack project, I like to put each song in a separate part. So if we go to this one, you see it's part 1, and we go to this one's part 2, part 3, part 4. You get 4 parts per bank, so that's why I put 4 songs for each bank, because then each song is separate. I do that because then if I change the effects or something particular for that song, it's not going to change everything, all the other songs. I just find it helps to keep it separate. So you need to turn the levels up for everything because it turns them down. And then you go in and then you'd find, so I got my drums, and then the second track, you got your bass, your third track, melodics, fourth track, vocals. And I keep it the same for every song, just because then I know where everything is and you kind of get the muscle memory. Because when you're on stage, you kind of just forget everything and it kind of goes out of your head. You go into this, you double tap it, and you get time stretching off, because it's going to get the BPM wrong and it's going to stretch it and it's going to sound bad. Okay, so we've got time stretching off, and then we want to do a trigger. So to put a trigger down, you go into the recording, add your trigger, and then you hold it down and go right to the conditions, and you want it just for the first. Now this means that when you press play, it's going to trigger it, but then when it loops around, it's not going to re-trigger the start of the song again. It's just going to let it play through. And you can just copy this and paste it for all of the tracks. So now we've got drums, bass, melodics, and vocal with the trigger, no time stretching. Now what you can also do is go into your tempo, and I've got my tempo here, 141. So for the pattern, not the project, so you go function yes to switch between. This is just for this song, this pattern. You can do 141, which is the BPM. Now this means that all of the time-based effects like delays and things are going to be in time with your song. It also means that you can send MIDI out to the Chroma Console, and that's also going to be in time. So now when we press play, there we go, we've got our song as it is. I've got a master channel on here, and I've just left it here. I haven't bumped it all the way up. Now, the reason why I did that is because sometimes when you go and play a show, the sound guy is going to say like, the level is way too loud or the level is too quiet. So I find by having the master there of the song for each track, you can kind of, it gives you control over it. Because if I bumped it all the way up to the top and then he said, we need more, I've got nowhere to go. And I've had sound guys say both it's too loud and it's too quiet. So I know that I'm right and it's in the middle. So you just kind of do it from that. Also, if you need more volume, you can go into the mixer and bump up the main. Now, we don't have the vocal on this yet. We just got the backing vocal. So we go into this one. You want to go to this one, you double tap it, and we're going to go to a 3-track. Amutha, the singer, has microphone which goes into her vocal pedal, which then comes out to a stereo A and B. I've just got this microphone today to show you. So this is just a single input. So this is just A, but I would normally have A and B. So I turn it all the way up. I put trigger down and then you press play. So that now means that we're getting audio through here. You can see because it's lighting up. Now what I also want to do is I want to send this vocal into the Chrome console and then have it come back. So to do this, we can set the Q out. So if you hold Q and then press the track that you want to go to. So I'm sending my vocal from this pedal now out, from the Q out. This is this stereo here. So this comes out and it goes into the Chrome console, and then the output from the Chrome console goes into C and D. So now we need to get it to listen for C and D. So we're going to click on this one. We're going to change it to a 3-track and C and D, and we're going to turn the volume up, and we're going to put trigger down and play. So now you can see when I tap it, it's coming through there. So if I speak into this, hello, hello, and there we go. Yeah, so now I've got the Q out coming through. Her vocal pedal must add some volume to it, probably add some gain, so I'm going to add that on here. Just so then, yeah, there you go. You've got a better level now. So I've got a drive on it just slightly, and then I've got it all the way up. We want it to have like a kind of grittiness to it. I find the drive kind of, it just adds a bit of treble to it. The movement one I change between depending on the song. Yeah, I'll use like the phaser, say like at the end of a phrase, and I want it to kind of ramp up and have like little curly bits in it. I really like the collage on a vocal, because you can do things like it kind of grabs and then you can spin it around. You have these little tails on things like that. And yeah, I obviously can't sing, so it doesn't have the same effect with me speaking into it. But when you've got somebody singing, it sounds quite good. And then for the texture, I've just kept the squash compressor at like halfway. I find, because it's compressor and then goes into overdrive, and I put this effect volume quite low because I find the squash really adds a lot of volume to it. So yeah, that's how I set it up. And then I would go, if I was doing a new song, I would go to, because this is in part 1, so go function part, so this is part 1, you do function copy, and then you exit that. You can go to this pattern, you go function part, and then go to 2 and you go paste and select it. So now you've got all of the settings from before, so then all you need to do is go in and change the song, and then you just work your way through. And then say like you fill up that bank, you got 1, 2, 3, 4 songs, you just go on to the next bank, and then that has 4 separate parts again.